Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality, yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. You got a question for RLN? Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Oh, now we get real. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you're gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Rebecca Lynn Norrington. I am calling to you live from a remote area. I'm calling to you live from Dinah's Garden Hotel in Palo Alto, California. What the heck am I doing at Dinah's Garden Hotel in Palo Alto, California? Good question. Last night, I attended the Happiness Hall of Fame ceremony. This was the second annual Happiness Hall of Fame award ceremony, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute because I've got a lot of things to talk about and what I observed, and the room full of people, probably, 150, 200 people. I'm really bad at counting heads. But it was a room full of people, and I really, being a happiness specialist, I found that I had to use a lot of things that I practice in the audience of a happiness, supposedly people that are interested in happiness and people that teach happiness. Okay, so we're going to get into that. But before I do, let me just share with my new listeners, because I get new listeners every week, whether it's 1 or whether it's 21. I just really love that people are finding the show and liking the show. Well, you know what? I don't know if they like the show. Let me scratch that. In fact, that's one of the things I want to talk about. What do we think we know? And let me really rephrase that to the true statement of, what do I think I know? What do I know? What do I think I know? And what do I really know? What? Write that down. What do I know? What I think I know? And what do I really know? Okay. This show has evolved, and it's been, over 4 years. It's hard to even, it's not hard, but it's just fascinating what the universe has given me to do is to host this radio show. And next week, quite frankly, next week and the following week, we're going to have guests. From time to time, I have guests on the show. And next week, we're having Kalina Smith, who is a psychic, and she's all the way from Canada. And she's been on the show a couple of times. But we're going to talk about, which is just, I can't wait. Well, I can't wait. I'm excited for that to happen. She this year, a few months ago, experienced a very traumatizing, challenging, if you will, event. She was riding her surfboard with her sister. They were out on an outing in Canada, I guess near the ocean, wherever. What ocean is by Canada? I digress. And the surfboard hit her in the head. Now, it took months for her to recover, and she's going to be talking about that, what she felt, what she experienced, how she felt, and how the universe has been guiding her through that, and what she's learned. She was in the hospital. She was in intensive care for weeks, I believe, and not able to talk to people. It was just really a big deal. So next week she's going to be on the show to share her story. The following week we're having two really wonderful ladies that I met in New York at Peace Village, and Selma and Bobby. and they're going to be on, and they have a book out, Elder Chicks, and they call themselves Elder Chicks. So I really am excited to talk to them too, and they're going to be sharing from their perspective life, this thing we call life, and because listen, we're not really getting younger, so I want to be open to hearing what women at that stage in their life are learning, what they continue to learn, and that's on November the 22nd. Reality Spirituality. This show has evolved as I have evolved, and what I find for me is I'm always learning. Let me tell you what the universe challenged me with this week, because this Reality Spirituality Radio is very, very current. There's always something going on. There's always something to learn. There's always a lesson behind every situation. Every situation, and it's a lesson that I need to learn. We're so different. We're all so unique. We're all so precious. We all have something to contribute to this planet. And do you know what that is? What we contribute to this planet is ourselves, just as we are. Who we are, our strengths. Let me scratch that word, strengths. Our uniqueness, because strength, quite frankly, is a label. So if you're strong, that means strong at something. That means you have to be weak at something, which I don't believe in either. It's just like, okay, we have an elephant, but just because the elephant can't swim like a fish, does that make him weak? No. So the strength things and this weakness thing, I'm scratching that, because all labels subtract from happiness. So whatever that's what I'm going to do, because I heard I hear a lot of what are we strong at, what can we do really good, and then anyway, back to the topic, because I can get off topic in a second. So this week, I've mentioned this before, but there is something that is happening at my 9-to-5 job, which now it has progressed into me having to move locations, having to move sections. In the law office that I work, there's a lot of different sections that I can work in. There's probably about 22 different sections in law, from consumer to public rights, that is public rights, to land law, to antitrust, to charitable trust, to tort, to correctional law. There's just a lot of different there's a lot of different sections where I work. And I was not asked, people, not asked. I was told, that I am going to be moving sections after, I would say, 15 years maybe in the same section. And as you would imagine, after 15 years, I became very familiar. For me, the work is just, it's very easy, challenging at times, but not really. But still, where I work, I've set up, listen to this, I've set up my area, and it looks like a freaking museum. I have not hundreds, but probably a little, close to 100 pictures plastered all over the wall, like it's a wallpaper, plastered all over the wall. I'm adding pictures all the time, and being told that I am going to move with quite frankly, being forced was very, very challenging for me. And I have people that I'm going to get to. I have people in the queue. I will get to in a minute, people in the queue. And thank you for calling. The number here to call me and get me live is area code 646-564-9619. But let me finish this very challenging story for me. And so I was being told to move, and I didn't like it. Let me be even clearer. My ego didn't like it. See, there are two entities that is living inside of us. Two entities. the entity of the ego, or whatever you want to call it, the shadow, whatever word you want to use it, that entity. And then there is the universal voice. So there's two voices. And quite frankly, that ego, that voice, that human voice that tells me something's wrong, something needs to be right, this isn't happening. And not only that, it manifests in me. I can feel the difference when I am guided by the universal voice, and I can feel the difference when I'm guided. I'm going to say guided. The ego is in charge of what I do and what I say. There's a huge, huge difference. The ego wants to speak. The ego thinks that I know. The ego is the one that says these things. And let me share with you really quickly. Oh, I didn't tell the story about the work. Okay, so let me just jump back. So I'm told that I have to move. Now, the first day the ego was very, very annoyed, was very put off, was I'm gonna have to fight. This isn't right. Ah, how can they move me? There's no reason, and there's a lot of reasons, but I'm not going to get into the reasons why. So I'm being, quote, forced to move. Now, being a happiness specialist, what that means is my job. We talked about pushing buttons last week, and it's my job to get rid of my buttons or make sure that my buttons are they're so small, and they're not. I don't even know that they're there anymore. I might still have them, but they're so small. Their voice of my buttons is so small, I won't even. It's not going to be. In other words, they won't have any power. So one of my buttons is, this is unjust. This is not right. And this is not, I'm not going to say this is not fair, because I know life isn't fair, but my button is really about what's just. That's my ego talking. And then I had another feeling of being attached to where I've been sitting for 15 freaking years. All true. Recognized that. I knew that. And then the third thing that I went through, the third thing that I felt is, how do I feel? I didn't feel, quote, unquote, good. I didn't feel peaceful. I didn't feel content. I didn't feel what I teach. I didn't feel connected to the universe. No, I was very bothered. And I know that I'm bothered because the thoughts keep going on and over in my head. I mean, I can be gardening, and I'm still thinking about, oh, God, now I have to move after 15 years to another area. Oh, and where I'm moving, don't get me started about the people over there. That's kind of a joke, but And then the universe was working with me and said, well, of course I have to go through all of this. Well, what's good about you moving? What's good about it that you can see? Okay, did that exercise. Yeah, it was good about what you can see. Yeah, okay, I can come up with a few things. It'll be a fresh start. I can create. Quite frankly, when you're in a place for 15 years, you become very comfortable, and people not only know me by what I do, but they have some personal information that I've shared on my own about my family, about my life, about my son. You know, nothing really secretive, but yeah, people know more about me than the work. So I would go over there with a clean slate, keep my personal things personal. So I thought about all that. But here is the assignment that the universe gave me. And let me tell you right now, it has been the most challenging, unjust assignment that I have ever had to practice. Ever. Because I asked the universe, what is my lesson? Why am I going through this? what am I gaining from it? And I already know that everything that's happened is for my betterment and for my growth, but I want to know why, and I want to know that day. I think this was Wednesday. And it was Thursday morning. I was in the shower. Of course, I meditate in the shower. I get my messages from the universe at very crazy times. And it was in the shower, and the message came. Oh, just gonna feel it now. The message came loud and clear. So let me share with you. You know the difference between feeling great, feeling connected, feeling happy, feeling at peace, and then feeling like crap about what's going on in your life or maybe what's going on in the mirror. There's a huge difference between those feelings. And the universe told me, and my mouth dropped open, the universe told me, you know how you get excited when a publisher is interested in your book, or you get excited when you're speaking, and people, actually this is what I really get excited about. When people listen to me, whether it's in the class or on the radio or just on the street, and they say, wow, Rebecca, I didn't think about it like that before, or wow, Rebecca, what you said is really assisting me or helping me in my life, or thank you, Rebecca, for sharing your truth. Now I can look at my life differently. Not that I'm up here changing people's life, but just giving them a different way, a different perspective, a different choice. That's what really gets. I love that. That just makes my whole day. It makes me feel really full. And so the universe told me, we want you, because there's a lot of them up there. There's a lot of different energies acting as one. We want you to have that same sense of excitement. I use the word excitement. They use that word, excitement, when things happen when you would not have chosen them to happen. We want you to get excited over moving. We want you to get excited over taking all of your pictures down. We want you to get excited over feeling bad. We want you to get excited. I've actually gained a little weight over the last probably month, and I'm, quote, 10, 12 pounds over fighting weight, and I never, ever, ever in my life like that. It really bothers me. We want you to get excited over, quote, being overweight. Overweight is just a label anyway. We want you to get excited, not just for the things that you approve of, or things that you want, or things that you think are what you know, things that put a smile on your face. We want you to get excited over all of it. And audience, I sat there, mouth hanging open, jaw dropping. I said 4 words. Are you kidding me? Get excited over bad news? Get excited over squeezing into my clothes being a little bit too snug? Now let me be honest. My clothes being snug? Get excited? Are you freaking kidding me, universe? And they were joking. And that was my message this week, to get excited over all of it. I told this in my happiness class, the importance of happiness. I told them the story, and I said, because I got the message that morning, on Thursday morning, this Thursday, and they looked at me and said, my students said, wow, how do you do that? Because wouldn't that be another skill? To be excited about all of life? To be excited about every single moment, not just the moments that I deem appropriate? So that's my assignment. Thank you, yeah. Glad you're not me, huh? I'm joking, but that's my assignment. By the way, I digress. In Dinah's Garden Hotel in Palo Alto, where I'm staying, I can open the sliding window. I don't know if you heard it in the background. It's not the shower running. There's actually fountains and waterfalls outside, and when you open the sliding door, that's what I hear all night long. And I slept so well. I slept, almost 6 hours straight. I wonder if it was because of the beer I had before I went to sleep. But anyway, and it's just a beautiful setting. So that's the running water you hear in the background. I'm going to go to my callers. I have callers in the queue, and they want to speak and say hello, or I have their question. Area code 623. You are live on Reality Spirituality. What's your first name? Hi, welcome to the show. Hi.
Hello, Maria is my name.
Hi, Maria.
And I had a very bad moment like you. One of the things that I wanted to do this year was returning to teaching. Because one time ago, I had my teacher certificate, and I let it expire. So I wanted to take both tests that lead you to get your certificate. The first test, the professional knowledge, and the second test is the subject knowledge. So I found out yesterday I did not pass my professional knowledge, but I'm sure that I did pass my subject because the subject test was very easy for me. Mm. So now I don't know what to do. I feel really bad, and now that I hear you saying that probably a good thing, it's something that is telling you that
to get excited.
Yeah, get excited. Something really bad. Probably it's something really good. So I just want those.
I can feel you, sweetie. Let's just cry together. Let's just cry together because I can really feel you. Yep. And let me share something with you that I need to remind myself of. And let me just share something with you too. Because we're more alike than we are different. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I hear from you is you saying that I let the test expire, or I let my certificate expire, right?
Yes.
And what happens with that is you start feeling bad about yourself, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course.
And let me say this again. I say a lot of stuff. One of the things that I have learned, and I know this to be true, it is the truth, my dear Maria, it is the truth, is that I am not in control of what happens to me. I am not in control of this life. Because quite frankly, if I was in control, I'd be riding out where I'm sitting until I retire, which is coming up really soon. If I was in control of this life, I would not have had the experience of. There's a lot of my mother disinheriting me. I know I use that a lot, but my mother disinheriting me, or me having hip surgery, or me having knee surgery, or me having certain health issues, or me getting older, or me dyeing my hair now that sometimes the ends are gray. I wouldn't have chosen any of this stuff. Having financial challenges, I wouldn't have chosen any of it. So I know for a fact, and I'm telling you, it's the same for you, whether you're going to be on, believe it or not, you are not in charge of what happens. The universe designed it. We signed off on it before we got here, but the universe designed it that your certificate would expire. Everything that happens to us is happening for our lesson, for a lesson that we need to learn, and for us to evolve and grow. Everything. So number one, I'm demanding you, I'm commanding you, stop feeling bad about what you think you're doing, because you are not doing it. What do you think about them apples?
Well, I have to accept.
You don't get it yet. Okay. What?
No, I have to accept it. I don't have any choice. I have to accept what happened.
Yes. But I want you to accept it, but I don't want you to blame yourself for it happening. I want you to see that there's a bigger plan. There's a bigger reason. I was talking earlier about Kalina Smith, who's going to be on the show next week. She's a psychic. She was out in the ocean, and she got hit by a surfboard, and now she's in the trauma ward. She wouldn't have chosen that. But we're going to hear about what she's learned from that and how that experience has changed her and changed her life and benefited her life. So I really want you to realize that you are accepting it, but I just don't want you to feel bad about you or yourself because it's happening. There's something else because whatever is happening is supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes? So what is supposed to be happening, sometimes for me, I have no idea why, but I know it's supposed to be happening. That in it of itself is very comforting and very calming to me. It's supposed to be happening because if it wasn't supposed to be happening, it wouldn't be happening. So tell me some more. And what are you feeling right now, and what are you thinking?
No, it's like I have to accept what it is. I mean, what it is, it is. I don't have any way to change what happened.
Right. And so how are you feeling about what do you think? Do you think you can get on board and know that everything is happening for a great reason, and to accept it, and to not know the plan but know that there's even a more intricate plan for you?
Yeah, I understand that now. When people say that the time of God is perfect.
Yes.
So God's time is perfect. That means that, yeah.
Doesn't that suck?
Well, it sucks.
Isn't that the worst?
Because
it's the worst.
Because we make our plans, but we have to realize that God has some other plans for us.
All the time. Listen, this universe, God, is always meddling in my life. Yeah, it's a big buddy in my life. Why can't I do it the way I want to do it? No, the universe, God, it's always God's plan. It's always God's will. And I'm the only one that doesn't like it. I'm the only one.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Now what?
No. Thank you very much, then. And I know that I have to accept that things happen for a reason.
Yes. And things happen for a reason, and let me say this, that it's even grander than you can ever imagine. My plan, okay, so let's see. So I'm sitting there and I'm putting on the table my plan, and then right next to my plan is God's plan. Guess whose plan is better for me, for my life?
Oh, well, actually, the God's plan.
Mm-hmm.
God's plan.
Isn't that a hard pill to swallow?
Yes, it is.
I choke on it every time. I choke on it. It's like a size of a rock. Oh, and it's hard to swallow and it's hard to go down. But the more I practice swallowing it and knowing it, that it is God's plan, then you know what? Quite frankly, Maria, the less I have to do, the less I have to figure out, the less work I have to do. And so what really is happening for you is there's a lightness that is going to come, and then the seriousness about I didn't get it is going to leave. There's a lightness that you can discover, realizing that God is in charge, God is driving. Have you heard my analogy about who's driving the car yet?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you have heard it. Good. So we know God's holding on to the steering wheel, and all we have to do is sit back in the back seat and relax. Huh.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm. Let me throw something else out because I'm feeling you a little bit. It's time to lighten up and to not be so serious and try to find the humor and try to just be lighter. This life, believe it or not, is not that serious. Oh, my ego wants to think that it's serious in your certification and not passing. Oh, how devastating! I'm not making light of it. I know it felt devastating.
No, the bad thing. The funny thing is that I feel and I think I did very well on my subjects, but not in my profession. And I taught for 6 years before. So this is funny.
Exactly. Now I feel you. You're lightening up. You're laughing. These hardships, failed the test. That's like a surgeon. who's been performing brain surgery for 10 years, and then they go and reapply and they fail it. I get what you're saying. It's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. I said, what? Well, yeah.
So Maria didn't pass the test. Yeah. I have to move. Oh, gosh. I'm with you, sister. I am with you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for being open and listening and just hearing what I get it. But yeah, let's start looking at and let's start making ourselves look at the humor and lighten up and start laughing. Thank you so much for calling, Maria. Stay on the line if you want to listen to the rest of the show or whatever you have to do. You know, her call is like isn't that an everybody call? Isn't that all of us? We have a plan, and then God has a plan, and God is. And how the hell would I say? You know what, God? I'm switching out your plan, and I'm plugging in my plan. What do you think? That doesn't even sound. So that's number one. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, which is really for me, I'm going to share with you what we talked about pushing buttons last week, and I want to share with you what is a button that I get pushed that pushes my button a lot. And what happens when I have a button that can be pushed? Well, that means I have something to do. That means I have a job. That means that I have work to do. That means I have to practice having either eliminating that button or making that button so small that even if somebody pushes it, it doesn't matter. And that's how we know, strike that. It's one of my buttons. That's how I know that I'm growing. That's how I know that I'm different. Things that happened yesterday, things that happened a year ago, don't affect me at all today. So I was telling you about this Happiness Hall of Fame award ceremony, and I want to say that all night long, the speakers, there were a lot of speakers, were just pushing my buttons left and right. And why? Because one of the things that really bothers me is when people speak and they use the word we or people. They say, oh, people are fill in the blank. People are like this. Most of us are. The majority of us are. We all are. And let me tell you, audience, that bothers me because I have gotten to a place in my life where I have given up and let go of trying to know what's in somebody else's head or trying to think that I know about someone else. And when people especially speak, well, not even speakers, but people that have a voice and they say we do this, we do that, we think like this, the majority of people think and we think, and all of this other kind of crapola, I sit there and I cringe and I'm like, you don't know what anybody else is thinking. You don't know people. What you do know is yourself. You can say I, but how dare you say we and assume that you know about other people. In fact, I heard a story last night about someone that knew, I'm not going to, I don't want to get specific. Because a lot of people listen to this show. But the bottom line is this. There's about 10 people listening to this show. And that 10 people can tell another 10 people. That's another thing. Numbers are not important. But there are people that listen to the show, and I don't want to be specific. But getting back to the point of talking about we and people, when I speak, I only can tell you from my perspective, from what I've learned. I can watch somebody, I can observe someone else getting angry and being upset and frustrated, but I don't know why. It can look like it's because of somebody cut them off in traffic, or it can look like somebody was rude to them in the line at a superstore, at a supermarket, at a grocery store. I said superstore. I was combining both grocery store and supermarket. Anyway, but I really don't know. And I heard a lot of we. And that bothers me. But it's my job. It's not their job to change because people are going to be who they are. It's my job to get to a point where, okay, I can hear that and it doesn't make my skin crawl. And how do I do that? How do I work on getting rid of my buttons? Well, number one, I know that I'm not here by myself. I'm here with the entity, whatever entity you want to use, whether it's source, spirit, God, universe, whatever word you want to use. I'm here with that energy. So the first thing I do, and I always do it, is just ask how. And Maria, you can do the same thing. How can I feel good, or how can I let go of wanting to plan my life? How can I listen to that word we and feel okay and be at peace with people talking about other people, because that's really what they're doing. They're talking about other people as if they know. The only person you know is you. You never know anyone else, because unless you're in their skin, unless you are them, you never know any other person but you. And I'm saying that for myself. And it took me a while to get that. And now that I get it, I'm irritated by everybody else not getting it. Yes. So how do I get to that point? And because it keeps coming up every time I'm listening to people, or I'm hearing, I hear that, well, we, and how many times have you felt like this? Raise your hand if you've been in this situation. Well, still. So that's one of the things that I'm working on. I never know anybody else's journey unless I am that other person. So that's what happens is now I'm able to give them up. I'm able to give looking at them or trying to figure them out. That's a job. That's actually energy that I'm putting into. Why am I yelling at my audience? That's actually energy that I'm putting into. That I don't need. I don't need to have anybody else in my world, in my focus. I have enough stuff to do. I have enough things to work on, and they're all coming from this point in the mirror. They're all coming from a place which is in the mirror. So that's what I have to work on. So what I know about other people is zero. What I know about myself is always something new and always something to do. I've always got a job. Now, let me say something about before, because I'm going to get off the air in a minute. And if you want to call in, I have a few people in the queue that just want to listen, which I love. I love that too. But if you want to call in, it's area code 646-564-9619, area code 646-564-9619. And the other topic I want to talk about is what and who, what entity, and I touched on it a little bit earlier. One of my students in my happiness class, she reminds me of me when I was younger. And she is very opinionated, very judgmental. And I'm saying it because she reminds me of me. I mean, I can recognize it. And we're talking about, and she's actually a really high up entity in the company that she works. She's up there. She's in the upper echelon. And very, very powerful, quote unquote powerful in that particular position. And there was an incident that happened. She doesn't mind me sharing it. There's an incident that happened where she made a big stink about people not getting approval, not coming to her for approval first before something happened, and then she sent out this email that was, woo-wee, how dare you overstep without checking in with me, that kind of email. And she said right after, which is really an indication of her growth and her progress, she says, I felt bad because in the past she would send out these bullying emails, and because I said the same. I would step over people. I would go all the way up to the top. I know what it means to send out an email where you just show all the quote unquote illusion of power that you think that you have, and it is an illusion of power. It's really not powerful. It's very weak when you attack. Quote. It's very weak when I attack other people. It's very weak. It's a very weak position. So she recognized that, and she said she felt bad, which is a lot of progress, being so self-aware that you feel bad about how you treat other people, because how you treat other people is an indication of how you feel about yourself. Write that down. how you treat other people is an indication of how you feel about yourself. So if you're mean to someone else, or you're rude to someone else, or you're nasty, or you're negative, or you're critical, or you give them a jab, oh, I was just kidding, that's really not about them. It's really about you and how you feel about yourself. Because what is the intention? Always ask yourself, what is the intention before you speak? And I know when my ego is speaking, and I know when the universe, when the voice of God is speaking. Because the universal voice is always kind. Always. It's always kind. It's always loving. It jokes. The universe has a sense of humor, but it jokes without having a knife in its hand. It jokes without the stab in the back. There's a big difference. And so my student, she was talking about how she felt bad, and I said, well, one of the things that I had to learn is learn how to apologize. And when I say apologize, I don't mean apologize for them or apologize for doing something wrong, because there's nothing wrong in this world. There are no mistakes. I'm talking about learning how to apologize so you have that in your arsenal. It's very powerful to be able to apologize. Listen to this. Listen to this, listening to this. It's very powerful to be able to apologize even when the other person did the wrong, especially when the other person is in the wrong. Do you know how powerful you are when somebody is mean to you and somebody treats you crappy, and then you say, oh, then you blame, it's your fault, no, don't worry about it, it was my fault. It's very powerful. It's actually a weapon to be kind to somebody that is mean to you. It's a weapon. And so I was talking about that with my dear student. And she stood up, and she said this before, but this week she was, never apologize, almost yelling it like it was her mantra. Truly, never apologize, never. Which brings me to the point of who is in charge, your ego or God or the universe? Because the ego is the one screaming, never apologize. The ego is the one saying that they're wrong and I'm right. The ego is the one that has control over what you do and what you say and how you feel, and quite frankly, how you're going to feel in your next moment. Recognizing the entity, knowing the difference between the voice and acting on your ego versus acting on what's universal will change your life. Do I have it mastered 100% all of the time? Hell no. But I definitely know the difference. And the only way to diminish, the only way that the ego is going to have less power, because when she said, never apologize, I mean, she might as well have stood up on top of a mountain. And when the ego has their claws, the ego had its claws in me so deep, that's all I could see. They're wrong. I'm right. I'm weak if I apologize. That's another one. Felt weak. But in reality, the ego was running my life. You see how I switched it up? I was going to say your life. It's really mine. The ego was running my life. And there are times when the ego just steps out, and I give it a little chance to shine, a couple minutes or two. All right, ego, I haven't used you in a while. okay, get out and flex, get out and stretch your muscles. But I know every time I allow the ego to be in charge. And that's the difference. The only way that the ego is going to lose its power is for me to starve it. Starve it. When you feed the ego, when I fed the ego, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And when I starve the ego and when I bite my tongue and don't say what I really want to say because they really deserve to hear what I have. These people deserve a tongue lashing from me. Are you kidding? Don't think I don't know. Don't think I don't know. Don't think I haven't thought about it. I could tell tons of people what I really think, but that would be my ego. That would be my ego telling people. And then now I've given my ego food. I've given my ego strength. I've given my ego power. I've given my ego a chance to control my life. And let me say this, every time that I do allow that ego to stretch and get out there and be in charge, I feel like crap. Like crap. So with that, I am going to end the show. Oh my goodness, it's already 9 minutes before the top of the hour. Again, thank you so much for listening to Reality Spirituality. Thank you, Maria, for being part of the show and sharing. What did we learn today? What did we learn? What did we learn? No, the question is, what did you learn today? Maybe something, maybe nothing. But for me, I learned that there is always something to do. I learned that when I talk the talk of being happy and being at peace and being contented and knowing that life is going to throw me a lot of challenges, that now I want to be excited over all of them. I know that I'm not in charge. I know there's a greater plan, and I know that I'm supposed to feel good about it. Oh wait, I'm supposed to feel good about it. No, I feel good about it. It's really a unlearning of what I learned, how to navigate through this life. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Thank you for calling in. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. That's RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington. Facebook, Reality Spirituality, and like Reality Spirituality's Facebook page. Oh, let me say this, too. Yesterday, flying into San Francisco, I encountered a couple of really interesting circumstances. I rented a car, and the woman behind the counter, I knew that I was going to get this woman. I just could feel her. And behind the counter, she asked me, I was renting a car, and she asked me, she says, oh, why are you in town? And I said, I'm here for happiness specialist. I said, I'm a happiness specialist. I'm here for the Happiness Hall of Fame Awards. And she says, happiness? What? And I gave her, gave her a couple of tidbits about how life happens and how to still be at peace. And she was talking about her sister, and her sister looked like she had a beautiful life and children, and she didn't have that. And I told her, one of the things that subtracts from your happiness is comparing yourself with someone else. Is comparing your life with anybody else's life, and you can't. I mean, you can, but it always is going to keep you in a place of not feeling satisfied. And when you don't feel satisfied in this moment, in the present moment, you're not going to feel satisfied in the future moment. That's just a fact. That's just the truth. So while I was talking to her and sharing a little bit, I had my sunglasses on, and I took my sunglasses on just off so I could just look in her eyes. And she said, wow, I could feel her shift. She just shifted. She said, just another way, another perspective to look at the same thing. And she thanked me. And you know what she did? She upgraded my car, people. She upgraded my car to a sports car Fire engine, well, I had a choice of either red or gray. I chose red. She upgraded my car, and now I'm driving around in the Bay Area with this hot sports car, which, quite frankly, sometimes I don't know where all the buttons are. But what was my point? My point is that the universe brings you gifts in different disguises all the time. Be yourself. Be open. Relax. Have fun. Start laughing. Don't take this life so seriously. It's not that important. Remember, you are a physical extension of the universe. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. You cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. Next week with Kalina Smith. Can't wait. Love you all. Have a great week. Let go, relax, and allow the universe to drive. Now, where's my theme music? There it is.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm